Let me start with the poem, because we are on the territory of expressive art. We are like to speak on a poetic language and not on a verbal, common language. It's my poem about culture. The culture is guiding and limiting, being born and being destroyed. Human icon of meanings, the other, others, the strangers, and the own. Outgoing polyphony of meanings, the invisible dome of temple, woven from the meanings and sounds of words. Body in body permeated these threads of belonging, sandcastles of civilization, the test of different continents. Originating there were no words, dances, songs, rhythm, and lines drawn on the body. Every day we drew patterns on the body on the body of the earth, and we can see earth illuminated but one sun and one moon, what we are shared in our starry sky, visible through the eyes of our ancestors and through the eyes of each of us. The sense of family and sense of belonging, the call that calls us in old age and is not appreciated in childhood. That invisible landscape of human meanings that continue to shape us very second, and which we form within a carpet of such familiar and different human way of being, without which we would not be human. Why I'm speaking about culture and cultural phenomenon? I'm from Moscow, from Russia, and I was graduated at the Moscow State University and have a PhD in psychology there. And also recently I had another PhD on the EGS in European Graduate School. And my background is cultural historical psychology by Lev Semyonovich Vygotsky. You can see Vygotsky here. And according to his theory and philosophy, the human development depends on the specifically human environment. Culture, the invisible space of human meaning and ways of being and perception of the world that make a person human. We live in a human body permeated by the cultural values and cultural meanings, internalized in the process of our social development. Here we can say that it's not enough to be born in a human body. It's necessary to grow up in the field of people in which, and this is confirmed by examples of people raised by animals. So if you remember Mowgli, who were, it's a human baby who were raised by animals. So they not become a human in total. So we have two parents. I can say what we have two parents: culture and nature and culture. And this is what very interesting, that we have a specific culture. It's like everybody has a mother. Everybody has a mother, yes, but everybody has a different mother, like a different culture. For example, Russian culture, Egyptian, Japanese, Chinese culture. This is like different mothers, and they specify our thinking, our way of seeing the world. So this is maybe you know about this invisible iceberg of perceptions. So this culture, it's create the culture of perception, the culture of thinking, the culture of feeling. Yes. And many people try to speak about how this culture functioning and try to unpack the culture, and somebody trying to find this K for culture in languages like linguistic approach or semiotic approach by Lakoff, Johnson, Barth, or mythological approach, or symbolic, even psychological. So we can try to find there is a culture, how it's formed us, yes. And many researches was in psychology was conducted on a representative from Western civilization. And Stephen Levin's talk about decolonization and to idea to go away from the Europe-centric way of position way of thinking. And we need to embrace and explore the consciousness, people from the different culture, from equal interests. And this is what I'm speaking about, the nature and culture. And for me, this is a beauty in this. It's a kind of play of poiesis in the mutual influence, culture, nature, and consciousness. So, for example, we all grew up in some particular land, and this land influenced on us. In this land, and also not only land, cultural land and consciousness of people. This is all in the mutual influences. Yes, this is really great. I can see a lot of beauty in this, and I also wrote an article about this, and it was published in one of the last book dedicated Expressive Arts Therapy about eco-poiesis, edited by Stephen Levin and Alexander Kopytin, also from Russia. He is also my colleague. Yes, and if we were moving forward, we can see that art is a part of human culture. Art is a part of human culture, and this is also traditional art. And Vygotsky called the art a social technique of feeling. So the art, the traditional art, somehow create the way of feeling, way of emotions. It helps us to feel, to see the world in this particular way. For example, if you compare the Japanese traditional music and Western traditional music, yes, it's create a different state of consciousness. Yes, from my point of view, art form, each art form from traditional culture, there's a lot of traditional art form. For example, BEREGINYA dolls, it's only one of traditional art form. Mandala, it's only one of traditional art form. We also usually using mandala in our practice, but we can very delicately bring the traditional art form from different cultures on the territory of expressive arts. This is my message. And then this art form become a frameworks. It's become the means of tuning of the work of the consciousness. It's helped to expanding the repertoire of play. It's creating new relationship. It's unpacked meanings and encrypted within them, within this art form, like within the doll. Today, I hope you will see this, how it works. And it's also become a bridge or guide. So let's see several examples. So from my point of view, expressive arts has become a new anthropological practice that can bring the ancient traditional wisdom on the territory of contemporary expressive arts to maintain the integrity of human existence. So now I would like to show with you several pictures. These pictures about my already using the art form, traditional art forms on the territory of expressive arts. Here you can see the circle dance. Circle dance is one of the Russian traditional art form, but not only in Russia. In many cultures you can find the circle dances. Here we are dancing together on the one of the festival in Moscow, one of the Expressive Arts Therapy Festival. This is another art form from India. It's the name of this art form Kalam or Rangoli. This is a drawing by rice powder on the body of the earth, as was as I told in my poem. And this is a picture from one of my retreats that I conducted in India. These Russian and Indian women. Here's also examples of kalam made it by one of Russian woman. And there's a lot of beauty in this example. I like it very much. You can see this special line. It was drawn on the beach on the board of the ocean. And one of the participants, she connected this column, her drawing, this ocean. And this was looking like an umbilical cord. Yes, and it's created a feeling of protection. Yes, and it is very great. And here you can see another examples, picture from also the same retreat in India. You can see Indian mandala and Russian traditional nesting dolls. Nesting dolls. Nesting dolls, it's a several dolls, the smallest doll inside, and then bigger, bigger, and bigger, representing family and generations. And we were working these generations there in India. You can see here the Indian art form meets the Russian art form, and it's. But actually, this is very interesting examples because these nesting dolls, they are not traditionally Russians. They came from Japan. Maybe Mariko knows this. They came like Daruma, but in Russia, because for Russian culture, the family values very important. Then this Daruma become a nesting dolls. This is very great how our cultures influenced on each other, like we in our field. This is another example, the braiding ritual. And here are also examples from our festival in Russia, in Moscow. We were created several carpets from the using the felt making from the wool. It was the carpets from the wool created on the Expressive Arts Therapy Festival. It was a great work. I like it very much. And the topic of that festival was the healing of generations. So here you can see the Japanese characters and Japanese tea bowl, chawan. Many years I use the chawan. I have this one. I'm drinking from this actually. This chawan. It's made it by my husband, but also I'm doing this. Yeah. And this traditional chawan, they were inspired for creating teacup. But this is not exactly just teacup. This teacup has a story. It has a face. It has, but particularly, it's a kind of self-portrait. It's a place for inner process of the creator. So many times I invited clients to create their teacup, and it was very healing for them to like a safe space, like a special space, like creating the very sacred space. There are the inner space, it's outer space, or very clear, divided, and yes, it was a lot of beauty in such work. And here another art form, it also came from Japan. We can call it suiseki, or suiseki is a little bit different. Bonseki. Bonseki, it means landscape on the trail, landscape on the plate. And also we were created with my participant clients and students such landscapes using the stones, sands, and many other materials. We were influenced by the traditional art form Bonseki, but then we will bring this on the territory of expressive arts. So to summarize, culture-oriented expressive arts can, I don't like word use, can appear to the, can work with the generalized culture. We can fact with the universal culture stratum, similar for many nations. The traditional native culture, a person belongs, in which he most often is not deeply familiar. It's true for almost the modern culture eroded by globalization. And also we can use it in another culture, and it's become frame, and it's helps us to expand the repertoire of play and gaining the new experience and explore the world.